Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our first Circular Lunch Club for 2026. Circularity in retail food waste and loss. This is a great topic because we all know how much the food waste crisis is in South Africa. And also now looking at how South Africa is economically, it seems tough for everyone. And looking at the war is also going to raise fuel prices and also increase the amount that we pay for food. So this is a very interesting topic for the state of South Africa at this point. And uh, and today I'm joined by none other than Jacob Holbach, who is the director of Refreshi. Jacob is going to take us through how Refreshi is finding a meal for every home in South Africa, and that's such a powerful statement. And I look forward to hearing how are they doing that and the great work that they're doing to reduce food waste in South Africa. My name is Mark Lamani. I'm also joined by my colleague Katarina. And before handing over to Jacob, I'm just going to tell you a little bit more about the session. This is the Circular Lunch Club, and if you're here for the first time, thank you so much for taking the time to spending your lunch with us. This came from post-COVID. There was a lot of webinars and webinar fatigue. We thought let's create a small bite-sized session where we can welcome our partners, where they can display circularity in practice by sharing what they know and sharing the great work that they do with our community, and also inviting the voices of the community to actually ask questions, engage, collaborate. And that's why there's a great emphasis in using the chat in here to connect and also to get to know each other, seeing who's who in the sector. So a little bit about us. Circular South Africa is a national platform designed to amplify the just circular economy transition in South Africa, and also to connect organizations uh, and create initiatives, and also to get practitioners working in the circular economy in South Africa to get to know each other. We're also guided by the three pillars of sharing knowledge and capacitation, facilitating partnerships and collaboration, and just scaling the circular economy in South Africa. So you're wondering why the circular economy is important for South Africa. South Africa is a real extractive country, which is extractive-based country, which led to resource depletion, social inequalities, and environmental degradation. So the circular economy provides South Africa with a regenerative alternative where they can rethink and redesign for a healthier economy, healthier humans, and a healthier environment. Guided by the four fundamental principles: design out waste and pollution, keep materials at their highest value, regenerate natural systems, and one that we feel that's important in Circular South Africa is benefit all members of society. So circular economy does not exist in silos. It's really it provides a cross-sectoral systems approach which gives an opportunity for all sectors to interconnect, and that really calls on the need for collaboration. And before handing over to Jacob, I just want to give us small facts about the retail food sector. So we all seen the statement that South Africa wastes around 10 tons of food per year. But in the retail sector and distribution stage, 20% of the food is wasted in the country. And food retailers distribute about 80% of the food that we consume in South Africa, and that place them in a central point to influence food waste reduction. Retail practices such as procurement, sorting, store management can influence food waste from both in the store and also upstream in the supply chain. So, having circular economy interventions in the retail space really can reduce food waste by redirecting food surpluses, improving inventory management, and redirecting unsold products into reuse streams. And speaking about redirecting food surpluses, here I would like to welcome Jacob to share the great impact and work that Refreshi is doing to reduce food waste in South Africa. Over to you, Jacob.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mark. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Yeah, thanks, Mark, and everybody listening. I can see there's been some introductions in the chat, so let me just very briefly introduce also who we are. My name is Jacob. You can hear I have a bit of accent, originally from Denmark, but I lived the last 5 years in South Africa, in Cape Town. My wife is South African, and we love the weather, the outdoors, the people, the food. and we think South Africa is a great place to be. Used to work 20 years for Maersk, big shipping company, but wanted to do something that had a bit of a bigger impact, and therefore we started Refreshi approximately a year ago. And I teamed up with Martin and Greg, who are the two founders of DinePlan, which is the biggest reservation platform for restaurants. So they have a lot of best practices that we are also applying, and then we have a team of 10 people. So overall, the problem we're trying to solve is this dilemma that I think also, as Mark mentioned, on one hand, you have 10 million tons of food that's being wasted every year in South Africa. A lot of this food is perfectly fine to eat. It hasn't expired yet. And on the other hand, you have 15, 20 million people that live with some food insecurity. So there's actually enough food. It's just not being connected. And that's what we're trying to solve. We created a platform on app where basically stores, that could be supermarkets, bakeries, hotels, coffee shops, restaurants, etc., make available every day unsold food or surplus food. And then consumers, thousands of people, can look at the app and they can find a place nearby them, and they buy the food for usually half the price or 1/3 of the price, and they go and collect it. So it's quite easy. If you're a customer or consumer, you download the app, you sit at home on your sofa, you can either look at a map or lists, find all the stores that are near you. You can find a bag of baked goods, or it could be a buffet bag, or it could be a deli bag, or it could be fruit and veg, other items. You can read a bit about what it is. You know the name of the store and the location. You can see the minimum value you're promised in the app. For example, here you can see on the right side, you would get baked goods valued at 150 and you only pay 60. You can see how far it is for you. It's maybe 1 kilometer away. And you can see how it's rated by previous customers, so that you know it's something you can trust. You say, that sounds great. You buy it, order online, and then you'll go to the store and collect it, typically the last 30 to 60 minutes before the store closes. So it never leaves the cold chain and is nice and simple, and there's no logistics involved. So for customers, what's in it for them? So they can enjoy a good, more affordable meal for typically less than half the price. They discover some new food options. You're probably more advanced than me, but if I go into a supermarket, I buy the same 10 things every time. Now you actually try new things and you might realize that you liked it. There's the whole surprise element. It's called a surprise bag because you know the category, again, fruit and veg or baked goods, or it could be a restaurant buffet. But the exact items will change daily depending on what the store has left. And then maybe also as a consumer, sometimes you feel, where's the world heading? There's less focus on the environment and what can I actually do that makes a difference myself. Here we kind of empower you. There's a tool and you can make sure that less food goes to waste and is actually being used. What's in it for the stores? So as a store, let's say you are a supermarket, every day you will have things that are about to expire. And now you can make it available on the app. So you can turn some of that surplus food into extra income with very little effort. The only thing you need to do is basically just pack 5, 10, 15 bags, 10 minutes before the collection window, have it ready at the counter. People come in, show that they paid, and you hand over the app or the food to them. It also helps. Some stores have this issue that they would like the counters to be full and attractive, so they don't have lost sales, but they also like the counters to be empty at the end of the day. It's a bit of a dilemma. With us, in some cases, they can actually put a little bit more on the counter because they know every day people will come and clear it. Some stores also like that it gives a bit more awareness. If you're a new store that just started up, now you're on the app, you'll have thousands of people looking every day. Maybe you will have Mark go into the store and collect a surprise bag, and he didn't know it existed, that store, and he'll come back as a full paying customer the next day. What we also see with some of the supermarkets is that since people go in and collect the surprise bag, maybe their wife will also tell them to get some milk for the kids or cornflakes. So typically it also brings in additional sales, additional foot traffic that the store otherwise would not have had. Then it also brings in what we show. You can see a little bit here on the bottom right, both as a store, but also as a customer. You can see how many meals you saved. how much water you saved, how much CO2 you saved, and how much land usage you saved, and how much money you saved. So this is a good way to keep track of what impact you're actually doing yourself. These are some of the stores that we're working with today. Approximately half the stores, I would say, are big chains, and the other half are smaller independent stores. So we roll out to almost all of the Krispy Kremes. We are busy with Bootlegger and Vidas. We're doing some tests now with King Pie. I think we have 40, 50 of the Spar stores on. Chateau Gateau is there. We're working and testing with some of the food lovers markets and also with Newmark hotels. Hotels are actually also an interesting place for us because, as you know, a lot of hotels will have morning buffet, lunch buffet, and evening buffet. Beautiful buffets, lots of great food. But if you've seen the buffet, there's always a lot of leftovers. Instead of throwing that out, now actually people can come and collect it and have a good experience. So the way we created some awareness about this, of course, one is to get the supply on and the stores. The other way is to, we have social media apart from Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We now have had, I think, more than 90,000 followers in less than a year. And here, both we share some of the experiences, but we also have, customers every day sharing that they got this surprise bag, they're unpacking it, they're very excited, a bit like a lucky packet. And some of the videos get 1 million views. I think we even had one video that got 3 million views, and a lot of people kind of interacting with it. So it creates a lot of excitement, which is great. I think we see users, the people who use it, it's all parts of South Africa. We have some of the low LSMs, of course, who are looking for a good deal. We also have middle class or slightly upper class. We also see people actually buying bags and giving it away. So they will buy the food and maybe they will give it to the housekeeper or the gardener or the guy in the corner. And they feel it's a very nice way to give back to the community. And you have here a proper meal. You get a smile and a hug and maybe a high five, and you feel like you did something good. So far, it changes a little bit every week. But if you look here on the left, that's, a couple of weeks ago, we were the second most downloaded app on the Apple App Store in South Africa within the food and drink category. So, quite some big names there. So it shows that there's interest. If you download the app today and you sign up, you will actually, it's all for free, but it's quite fun to play with. You can see on the map all the stores that are on the platform so far. It's very easy to use the app. As we talked about, you have a map, you have a list. It will always show you what is closest to you, because it's quite unlikely you're going to drive 500 kilometers and collect a bag and save 60 Rand. But you might walk 500 meters down the street and find out that your favorite store is on, and you go and rescue a meal there. You'll always be able to see when you click on the map, what is the minimum value you're guaranteed, what are you paying, what is the category of the bag, what are typically the items that could be in the bag, how far it is from you, and then again, how it's been rated. And then I think I mentioned on the right side here on your profile, you can see what effort you're actually making. Today, we are all at Western Cape, of course, quite heavy in Cape Town. We're also in Joburg, we're in Pretoria, we are in Durban, we are in PE. We have a couple of stores in Mossel Bay also, and East London. We're not yet in Limpopo or in Bloemfontein or Nelspruit, etc. But of course, initial focus on the main cities. And then because we need some type of density, so people are close to the stores. For now, it's quite heavy that we go out and we visit the stores. We find the owner, explain the concept to them, and then onboard them. But we are foreseeing in the future, of course, we like the map of whole of South Africa to be covered with stores and everyone to have the option to join and participate. All what you've seen now is the front end. That's the app that people download. There's also a whole back end where the store can log in and they can see how the orders are coming in every day, and they can manage it in an easy way. Food safety, of course, is important to us. So we have kind of several ways. One is that we don't put anything on the platform that is past the sell-by date, so nothing has expired. That's the first thing. And then, of course, it needs to be quality and something that the person packing the bag would be happy to consume themselves. And then all the customers give feedback, and the average rating right now, I think, is 4.3 this week, and of 1 to 5 scale. So customers generally happy, and we follow it on a daily basis. The stores can also see how the feedback is coming in. And if we see some stores are not performing, then we'll go and retrain them. If we still don't see any progress, in some cases, we'll remove them from the platform to make sure that it's quality experience. The sustainability reporting, just to share a little bit on the logic here. So what we say is that one surprise bag roughly equals 1 kilo of food. So that's, you could say, it's 1 meal. Then there are calculations, I think, done in Europe, where they say if you save 1 kilo of food, that basically results in you saving 2.5 kilos of CO2, 600 liters of water, and 2 square meters of land. That's a combination of what it would take to produce the food, but also if it ended up in a landfill in 40 degrees heat, a lot of emissions would come out. So these are quite conservative estimates. We talked a bit with CSIR a year ago, and they believe the numbers might actually be higher in South Africa because 75% of South Africa is powered by coal, and their longer transportation distances. So how we make an impact? So within a year, we have 560 stores on the platform so far. We are adding around 10-15 stores a week, so we're scaling up quickly. We've had 180,000 app downloads and still growing quickly, which is great to see. We've had these 90,000 followers and growing every week. We have proactive communication in the app to customers, reminding them to go and collect 1 hour before, and basically guiding them through the platform and how to use it. Each second week, we kind of implement new features to the app to make it even better. We have quite good, efficient customer service with the stores. Once we train them, we then also have a WhatsApp support group and can go and revisit them. And then we have our own people on the ground. We have 4 people in Cape Town, a couple of people in Joburg, and then you can see we're also in Pretoria, Durban, Quebec, and along the Garden route. And then we have a tech team of 4 people based in Stellenbosch. And then I think, as I mentioned in the early days, we're backed by Dineplan. So they've been there around since 2011. And they have a lot of best practices, both how to develop tech and make sure that everything is run smoothly. And it's basically something that you can trust, and that we're going to be around and continue improving. Our ambition, I would say, is to have thousands of stores, of course, on the platform and save millions of meals every year in South Africa. There's a similar concept to what we do in Europe called Too Good To Go. And they last year saved 135 million meals. And that's basically 5 meals a second. So we know Europe and the US is a bit bigger than South Africa. But there's nothing holding us back from saving millions of meals every year. And, that would be great. We basically try to build a system where the stores are winning because they get more income and more foot traffic. Customers are winning because they get access to more affordable meals. And the environment is winning because we take less food to the landfills. And yeah, that's kind of the whole concept. So that was a bit of an introduction. Of course, from what would be great from your side is, if you own a store, feel free to reach out to us. If you know someone, it would be great if you can connect us, and we'll be very happy to have a chat with them. Anyone that have surplus food that has not expired yet, but maybe is nearing the short, when it is about to expire, we'll be happy to have a chat with them and see how we can partner up further. That was
thank you.
A little bit from outside, Mark. I get very passionate when I talk about it, so
No, look,
if anyone has questions, just
work.
raise them up.
Yes, you're doing amazing work, so you should be passionate about it, and well done. Well done for what you're doing. And I'm seeing in the chats, there's a lot of people saying this is a great app. So you have in the session as users, so people that can reference the great work that you're doing out there for food waste and loss. There was just a question that I had in mind. There are questions there as well. I saw Tato kind of ask something similar. I wanted to know firstly, what is the response of your, when you go into the shop, what is the response that you get from the stores? Are they aware of food waste and loss? Are they aware of the circular economy that there is a way that you could actually redirect surplus foods? And another thing is that also I think Tato was touching on that about is there a regulation is there a regulation when it or guidelines when it comes to how they're packing the food before it goes, because just to check if people are not getting like stale food or food that's beyond, because I know that you're doing so much but you're only a group of 10 people. That's so amazing. So how do you ensure that everyone is within that guidelines that you set for them?
Yeah, I think that there was one question. Somebody asked how many meals we saved. I think in the first year we saved 150,000 meals, something like that. And I think we are getting closer to 800 to 1,000 meals a day at the moment. So it's starting to make an impact. So once we have, the owner says that they would like to give us a try, it's basically free to sign up for a store. Doesn't cost them anything. We do all the training and onboarding. We supply them with the bags. If there are any customer complaints, they can route it through us, and they can leave anytime if they don't like it. We take a small commission on the sales, so that's how we make sure we can continue to invest in the platform. But otherwise, we go to the store when they have time. We meet 4 or 5 people in the store. We take them through the concept, how it works. We set up the platform for them, and then typically we'll pack a couple of bags with them and say, this can go in the bag, this cannot go in the bag. We'll show them some photos of other great bags that are around. Sometimes it does happen that, then there's a new person packing the bag and suddenly we see a drop in the performance, or they put in something that's stale. Then they can see it themselves in the dashboard. But if it doesn't improve, we of course also will go out and retrain the store. So for now, we're not able to do the training onboarding online. We basically need to be in the store and explain to the guys who are on the floor how it works. And that seems to be working nicely.
That's superb. So, are there any other questions? I do ask for everyone to just unmute themselves, put your camera on, be free, just ask Jacob any question that you have. But even if you just want to say congratulations for the great work that you're doing, just raise your hand and we'll help you unmute. Is any questions?
Do you have some stats data around how much food has been recovered through Refreshi? That was from Bromwich. Yeah, I think it's around 150,000 meals so far. Yeah, otherwise feel free also to unmute and we'll be happy to share more. Yeah, my Munk Andersen, that sounds very Danish.
Yes, you can go ahead, man. You can unmute.
We don't hear you, Mike. Yeah,
now we hear
you.
You. Yeah, hello. Yes, and I am Danish.
Yes, we can hear you.
I was wondering, can you say something about the type of food? Is all food equally addressed? For example, meat versus more plant-based, and are they all equally easy or difficult? Or where do you see the difficulties? Are there certain parts that are more difficult to handle, or also relating to the expiring date and so on? When is something actually,
No, I think that's a good question. So I think initially the obvious categories to deal with is, for example, baked goods. That's, if you have a bakery, they bake food or have baked goods every day. They don't want it to lie at the counter overnight because it will get stale the next day. So they want to clear the counter every afternoon. And the risk is relatively low. If you get, a croissant that's a little bit stale, it's not like you're going to get sick. So that's where we've started. The fruit and veg, of course, is also a great opportunity. Of course, also relatively low risk. If you have a banana that's a bit damaged, it's not something that you get really sick of trying. I think we haven't played too much with the meat so far because, of course, nothing should be past the expiry date. But if it's not been kept properly in the cold chain, you can still get sick. We're testing a little bit also with frozen fish. So I think frozen items are also a good place to be in. We're testing also with some of the supermarkets, hot deli. I think so far it's been working nicely. I think the main thing there is that you have the hot daily counter, and whenever a bag is unpacked, it stays on the hot daily counter, and it doesn't leave and is exposed to different temperatures swings. Some supermarkets are open to it. Some supermarket chains are not open to it. But basically, yeah, we have our food safety guidelines that kind of we follow, and we also make sure that we go through that when we have the store. But otherwise, yeah, I think there's so many different categories where we can start opening up. But it is true, meat, we haven't played too much in that game yet, because I think the risk is higher there. Was that okay, Mike?
Yeah.
Beautiful. I see it also, you also touched in Tahira's question as well. So Chantal, over to you.
Yes, so actually my question was the same as Tahira's, which is that I've seen on the app that there are other surprise bundles from other companies such as Loot and some activewear companies. So I was wondering what Refreshi's, if there's interest in going into other non-food categories and what the response has been to that so far.
Yeah. So initially the focus is on food and reducing food waste, of course, and providing more affordable meals. I think where we see ourselves in a couple of years' time is it could potentially open up to more. At some point it could be anything that has an expiry date, right? So if you look at it, it could be makeup, it could be skincare, it could be paint. If you look at a lot of paint, will maybe expire in a month's time, and they cannot sell that in the store, but it's still perfectly fine to use. It could be cut flowers. A lot of cut flowers have an expiry date, but they're still beautiful for another week. So the initial focus is on food waste. We have done, as you mentioned also, Chantal, a couple of tests with a couple of other items, but not at scale. But so far there seems to be interest in that also. It even could be textiles, where maybe some of these items are becoming out of fashion, and then you could buy a bag of boys' clothes for somebody who's 2 years old, and you'll get value of 500 Rand, and maybe you pay 99. So I think initially we have a focus around food, but longer down the line there could be an opportunity to expand further. Of course, we need to make sure that the app is then set up properly and we have different categories, because you will get a bit confused if you suddenly see a lot of mix and you were looking for food. So it will require a bit of new features also.
There's a great question from Tato there. I don't know if you want to unmute, Tato, and just ask your question. But if not, it is there.
Yeah, I can see here, Tato. The question is, as you scale, what's your path to a unit of economics profitability per store? How do you see the model evolving to attract larger partnerships or investments? Yeah, so for now, everything is self-funded. So I put some money in, and the same with Greg and Martin. We have had quite a few investors reach out to us, but so far, yeah, we're always open. If you know somebody who's interested, we are open to have a dialogue. I think for now, we try and keep costs low, but still scale as quickly as we can. So if we got more investments, of course, we could move faster, but it would need to be the right partner and open up some new doors to us.
Just a question from me and Jacob. I wanted to know, like, obviously building such a great app that everybody loves. I wanted to know, how long did it take you to build this app, and what are the hiccups that you had, like from a tech perspective and just holistically in building this whole platform that's so amazing today?
Yeah. So we probably in 2024 in August we started looking at it, and then we had something ready in February. So what? 6-7 months. And we had a pretty good idea of what we wanted. Then when we launched in Stellenbosch, because that's like a student hub. We know people are on a budget and they're quite tech savvy and willing to try something new. We launched with 7-8 stores, and I think initially you think it's working and you test, but then when you launch, you'll find out that a lot of things are not working. So every single day we're finding small bugs here and there, and we're trying to improve and make it more smooth. So we have a list of probably 50 further refinements we want to do, and I think that's going to be never-ending work. Once you fix something, you'll find out that something could be even better. But yeah, it takes some time, and you both need to be up here helicopter view and plan where we're going to be 3, 6, 12 months from now or 3 years from now, but also be quite hands-on to make sure that things are working. But we basically invest in 3 things: in tech, in marketing, and then our people, right? Having the people on the ground to add more stores.
That's brilliant. That's so great. Well done. Keep up the great work. And guys, we are over the 30-minute mark, but if you're here and you want to just learn more, there's 2 more questions that are very interesting in the chat. And I think if you just go through those, Jacob, then we can call it a day after that.
Yeah, that's great. So Phil, I put in my contact details there, both my email and WhatsApp. So feel free to reach out to me anytime. You can also add me on LinkedIn. I think Werner Quack had added me, so we can also have dialogues there. Otherwise, you can also go on our website and read a bit more about it. I suggest also you download the app and play a bit if you want. And yeah, every week we're adding new stores, so it should become more and more exciting. I think maybe there was one question about, yes, we would love to work with someone like Woolworth or Checker ShopRite, et cetera. We are trying to engage a bit with the head offices. I think some of these big chains, they also not always move as fast as they could, but there would definitely be great opportunities to also engage with them. So if somebody has somebody who works there, that would be a nice opener also.
Yeah. And then the last question I saw was from Nolazia from Lumex. She says, do you by any chance collect data on how much food is diverted from landfill through Refreshi?
Yeah, so in the app, what we keep track of is, again, how many meals have been saved. So typically that would be maybe things that otherwise would end up in the bin. So yeah, that's kind of what we keep track of. And then of course the CO2 and the water and the land uses, right? And these are conservative numbers, so I think the real numbers would probably be a bit higher.
Of course there would be. But nonetheless, Jacob, thank you so much for making the time to be here with us and sharing the great platform that you have and the knowledge that you have of the retail food waste space. So thank you, and thank you so much for everyone for also joining this session and taking your lunchtime to be with us. Please fill in our survey, and also, if you don't have the application, download the application, download Refreshi, and also if you're not following Circular South Africa yet, follow Circular South Africa, because there's a lot more initiatives and events like this to come. But nonetheless, thanks everybody, and thank you so much, Jacob.
Yeah, thanks for your time. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a great one too. Bye.
Bye.